Strategic Marketing for Competitive Advantage by Darshana Wijekoon. Hello everybody. According to the book of Sun Tzu, The Art of War, the strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory, and tactics without strategy is the noise before the defeat. The TRAM strategy is derived from military-related activities, and initially it is referred to as an art of planning and directing overall military operations and movements in a war or battle. Next we will look at the definition of strategy. According to Chima, strategy is about how organizations create sustained superior performance in an industry compared to competitors. In addition, it is a course of action, including the specification of resources required to achieve a specific objective. These three main part of strategy: action, resources and the objective, are again divided to subparts. Action contain planning, coordinating and communicating. Resources contain human resources and loyal customers. Objectives define profitability and value addition. Strategic planning process. Under strategic planning process, we have 5 main steps. First one is situation analysis. Here we look at the current situation, where we actually in, and analysis the internal strengths and weaknesses, external opportunities and threats, key trends and drivers and priority issues. Next is direction. Here we compare the actual situation and the situation where do we want to be. According to that we set our mission, vision, values, goals and objectives can be used. And then the alignments. Here we discuss how to move on desired detection using strategies and programs. Next is execution. Here we use action plans and accountability. Last one is evaluation. Evaluation are done through reviews, performance evaluation and KPIs, key performance indicators. Now we are going to look at the strategy with Samsung electronic mobile phone sales. Just few years ago Samsung was just a struggling company to catch up the smartphone market. Their strategy to innovation resulted in sales over 300 million in 2012, which was their best year in history. You can get a clearer idea of this by seeing at the chart with actual sales data of Samsung mobiles. Now you are seeing at the Samsung Innovation Center, and here you can see global organization within Samsung's Device Solutions division, focused on identifying and nurturing new technologies, health and wellness, cloud infrastructure, mobile privacy, Internet of Things. Next is contradictions on strategy. Even though the success story behind the world-class business corporate S is strategic approach, there are many contradictions against this approach. Complex process, it need continuous assessment of variables because due to the turbulent business environment most variables are subject to change. time-consuming. It need high level of management time for preparing, researching, communication and controlling. Difficult implementation. Implementation need advanced communication plan, active participation of stakeholders and frequent monitoring. Types of strategy. First one is rational strategic process, top-down approach. The rational strategy is formed through a formal and rational decision-making process. It includes a comprehensive analysis of the external and internal environment. And it allows for plans to be made to implement the strategy. The heart of the rational strategy process is the setting objectives, vision and mission. Since all sequential stages depend on the objectives. Second strategy type. Emergent strategy. Here we have intended strategy, deliberate strategy, realized strategy. According to Mintzberg, 1987, suggests that few of the strategies followed by the organizations in the real world are as consciously planned as rational planning. Emergent strategy is not a result of conscious strategic planning, but it is a result from a number of ad hoc steps. According to this strategy, the final objective is unclear and elements will be still developed to the strategy process. Third one is incrementalism. Incrementalism process contain: identify objectives, identify criteria, identify alternatives and selecting a choice. According to Lindblom, strategy making involving small-scale extensions of past practice would be more successful, as it was likely to be more acceptable as consultation, compromise and accommodation were built into the process. He further believed that comprehensive rational planning was impossible and likely to result in disaster if actively pursued. But it is a common belief that incrementalism demotivate innovation, since it's highly focused on stage-wise improvements in the process rather than radical changes in levels of strategy. First one is business strategy. It is primarily concerned with how a company will approach the marketplace, where to play and how to win. Senior managers typically create business strategy. Second one is operational strategy. It is primarily concerned with accurately translating the business strategy into a cohesive and actionable implementation plan. Typically working vertically within a single business unit while resolving issues at the business unit boundaries. Third one is transformational strategy. It is seen less often, as it represents the wholesale transformation of an entire business or organization. Informational strategy is generally the domain of human resources, organizational development, and consultants. What is strategic options? Strategic options are creative, alternative, action-oriented responses to the external situation that an organization, or group of organizations, faces. Strategic options take advantage of facts and actors, trends, opportunities and threat of the outside world. Next we will move on to strategic decision-making tools and techniques. Decision matrix. A decision matrix is used to evaluate all the options of a decision. When using the matrix, create a table with all of the options in the first column and all of the factors that affect the decision in the first row. Users then score each option and weigh which factors are of more importance. A final score is then tallied to reveal which option is the best. T-chart. This chart is used when weighing the pluses and minuses of the options. It ensures that all the positives and negatives are taken into consideration when making a decision. Decision tree. This is a graph or model that involves contemplating each option and the outcomes of each. Statistical analysis is also conducted with this technique. Multi-voting. This is used when multiple people are involved in making a decision. It helps whittle down a large list options to a smaller one to the eventual final decision. Pareto analysis. This is a technique used when a large number of decisions need to be made. This helps in prioritizing which one should be made first by determining which decisions will have the greatest overall impact. Cost-benefit analysis. This technique is used when weighing the financial ramifications of each possible alternative as a way to come to a final decision that makes the most sense from an economic perspective. Conjoint analysis. This is a method used by business leaders to determine consumer preferences when making decisions. SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats, which is exactly what this planning tool assesses. PEST analysis. An acronym for political, economic, social and technological. PEST can improve decision-making and timing by analyzing external factors. This method considers present trends to help predict the future ones. This shows the evaluation process of strategic options. This is the strategic capability of an organization. Strategic capability is a set of capacities, resources, and skills that create a long-term competitive advantage for an organization. There is no single method or universal metric for measuring or noting strategic capability. While strategic capability does take into account the strategies a business uses, it focuses on the organization's assets, resources and market position, projecting how well it will be able to employ strategies in the future. A business strategic capability is a major component in remaining financially viable and growing despite the presence of competitors in a free market. Many groups of interested parties attempt to measure and track strategic capability. The process of evaluating a business strategic capability is known as a strategic value analysis. Element in strategic capability of an organization. Sustainable competitive advantages. Company assets, attributes, or abilities that are difficult to duplicate or exceed, and provide a superior or favorable long-term position over competitors. Porter's generic competitive strategies. A firm's relative position within its industry determines whether a firm's profitability is above or below the industry average. The fundamental basis of above-average profitability in the long run is sustainable competitive advantage. There are two basic types of competitive advantage. A firm can possess low cost or differentiation. The two basic types of competitive advantage combined with the scope of activities for which a firm seeks to achieve them, lead to 3 generic strategies for achieving above-average performance in an industry: cost leadership, differentiation, and focus. The focus strategy has 2 variants: cost focus and differentiation focus. The cost leadership strategy. Porter's generic strategies are ways of gaining competitive advantage. In other words, developing the edge that gets you the sale and takes it away from your competitors. There are 2 main ways of achieving this within a cost leadership strategy: increasing profits by reducing costs, while charging industry average prices. Increasing market share through charging lower prices, while still making a reasonable profit on each sale because you've reduced costs. The differentiation strategy. Differentiation involves making your products or services different from and more attractive than those of your competitors. To make a success of a differentiation strategy, organizations need good research, development and innovation, the ability to deliver high-quality products or services, effective sales and marketing, so that the market understands the benefits offered by the differentiated offerings. The focus strategy. Companies that use focus strategies concentrate on particular niche markets and, by understanding the dynamics of that market and the unique needs of customers within it, develop uniquely low-cost or well-specified products for the market. It is still essential to decide whether you will pursue cost leadership or differentiation. Steps of choosing a correct strategy. For each generic strategy, carry out a SWOT analysis. Use 5 forces analysis to understand the nature of the industry you are in. Compare the SWOT analyses of the viable strategic options with the results of your 5 forces analysis. For each strategic option, ask yourself how you could use that strategy to reduce or manage supplier power, reduce or manage customer power, come out on top of the competitive rivalry, reduce or eliminate the threat of substitution, reduce or eliminate the threat of new entry. Select the generic strategy that gives you the strongest set of options. Conclusion. A competitive advantage is what makes you better than the competition in your customers' minds. Competitive advantages will drive a company to success by differentiating the company within the industry it operates. There are many ways in achieving competitive advantage for a company. The strategic decisions as well as the capabilities of a company will have an effect on achieving the competitive advantage. Thank you.